What's up? I'm Rashad Antonio, OG friend of the fam, MCU Collective. MCU is back with Secret Invasion, episode 1 on Disney Plus. Resurrections in the episode. And of course, all spoilers. Let's we haven't talked about this at all.
No, that definitely we haven't said anything at
Um,
all about this.
this first episode was spicy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like they did a really good job of setting everything up. So there's like two or three major things that they set up. One, they giving us Old Man Fury. Two, I am looking forward to the buddy cop Murtaugh and Tubbs between him and Talos. Because both of
Yes.
them on some I'm too old for this ish.
Yeah.
That's both of them. And then
Yeah.
three, the Skrulls, they're on some almost we were promised, like we was like you was gonna take us to the promised land and we never got there.
So
You know
we
what I'm saying?
taking
So
your
we take
land.
yeah, so we're gonna take it by force.
Yeah.
And I really feel all those three storylines as they hopefully they'll converge into a nice dovetail of a splashless dive. I feel it.
Yeah. One thing I want to say too, it seemed like the episode was short, but that's how it was moving.
No, that joint was like 50 minutes.
It was 50. It felt like when it ended, I was like, dang, that's it. And I looked, it's like, oh no, this shit was like 50 minutes. Okay, cool. You one thing I can say Marvel with these shows has mastered is giving me just enough to want more.
Oh yeah.
Definitely they've mastered that. And man, good God, they gave me wanting more because how it was just starts off where you see good old Agent Ross from Black Panther, and you're like, yo, okay,
what is he doing in Russia?
What is he doing in Russia? And then the first thing I said is, and then he starts talking to the conspiracy theory guy. I can't think of his name for nothing right now.
Hey, that was Beric Dondarrion from Game of Thrones.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta go back and see that. Wow, didn't even notice that.
Me neither.
We had two Game of Thrones characters, saying former actors on this show. Shout out to Emil Clark as well. So he's like telling you, man, this is going on, and he's like going full blown conspiracy theorist. You going the Agent Ross meets him in his room, and he got posters and maps and pictures and surveillance of all
like
this.
The Always Sunny from Philadelphia meme.
Right. And he's just like, yo, man, I'm trying to tell you the Skrulls, like, saying this and that. And Ross is like, what are you talking about? We know all the Skrulls that are here, but Fury knows. He was like, no, man, it's more than that. But it's more than what you think. And they, they here to take over. And there's so many more people. And then when he starts talking, I said, is Agent Ross a Skrull? Because I started thinking before the season, like, who's a Skrull? Is I was like, is Agent Ross a Skrull? And I'm sitting here looking like, hold on, Agent Ross might be a Skrull. And like he said, the guy shows him like, hey, I guess where this bomb is that they need, where this bomb is that they need to pull off what it is. Because basically, he says that the Skrulls have been doing all these terroristic attacks over the last 5 years, but blaming them on other organizations. But it's them doing it because they're trying to basically cause like a World War III, basically.
Yeah, they're trying to cause like civil unrest between countries, and of course, like the obvious one is going to be U.S. and Russia.
Right, U.S., Russia, whatever, like that. It's
rather timely too.
Right, very timely. And so he's like, "Hey, man," he was like, "Well, he was like, yeah, man, we got to get a hold of Fury." And he was like, hey, man. And so Ross is like, Fury's on Saber. He's not here. He's not coming down unless he has to come down type, type stuff. And he's like, look, man, blah, blah, blah. He was like, look, give me the device and I'll take it and we'll discuss it with Fury. And that's when the dude kind of was like, nah, bruh. No. Something ain't right here. And they get into a tussle. Agent Ross ends up shooting the guy.
Yeah, dude was getting the best of him too.
Yeah, dude was getting the best of him. Agent Ross ends up shooting the guy, and you're like, well, dang, what the hell was that all about?
Not even that, but like, yo, like, how did he shoot him? Did he shoot him through him?
I think he was like, the guy was on top of him choking. I think he was able to get it from the hip and
Yeah,
shoot up.
because like the angle was crazy. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the
yo,
angle was
how?
crazy how he shot him. So then Agent Ross basically is calling for backup, like, hey, I got the stuff, blah, blah, blah. We got to get out of here. And he's calling Maria Hill.
Yeah,
So Maria Hill is working with Agent Ross on this. And she doesn't even know what this, saying that Ross is a Skrull. And he's going through it, and someone is following him. And then, they go through a little, a run, a little chase, get to the top of a roof. Agent Ross falls off the roof. The guy comes down, and then Maria Hill pulls out her gun on the guy that was chasing Ross, like, freeze, put your hands up, and he changed his face. He was like, Telos, and it shows that it's,
yo,
you
it's
know,
Talos. Yeah,
Talos out there. And she was like, what the hell? And he was like, yo. And she was like, that's one of your people. He was like, no, you don't understand what's going on, what's kind of going on here. Then the credits roll and we see the opening. Marvel always does a great job of doing openings for.
Speaking of that, I know you haven't been on the internet today.
Mhm.
There's a small segment on Twitter that is so pissy mad about the intro
So what are they mad about now?
that it's AI and not a real person who made it.
Oh, the intro was made made AI.
Yeah, people are saying that it's an AI intro.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Yo, telling I mean like pissy mad. Like I'm so mad. I'm not gonna watch the show. I'm like, y'all be on y'all. Like this is why I don't be on Twitter, man. Like
Yeah,
y'all be
man.
so
Like,
extra.
I'll be on Twitter, but I don't really comment. I just watch and laugh.
Yeah, me too. Because I mean, they was so hot about this.
Okay, whatever, dude.
I'm just reporting the news.
Yeah, stay mad, my friend. That's all I got to say about that. And so, what we come out to? We come out to what, Fury coming down from Saber, a ship dropping them off on planet, and Fury looks beat the hell up,
And
yo.
it was such a cool transition to making him
Mm-hmm.
look like an alien from the shadows they use and basically
Uh
the
huh.
silhouette and then him walking out and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's Nick. And you gotta remember too, he's been in space. So he got to get his earth legs back.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
He
him walking on, regular soil hasn't been
right.
nothing
And
he's
if you
done in
notice, he was
years.
limping. He was limping. My man beard was. I mean, he looked beat the hell up, or beat the hell up or whatever. And Maria Hill picks him up or whatever, and they go to a safe house, and there they meet Telos or whatever, and he sees Telos looking at some type of device like a star map or something, and they base. And at first, I was like, wait a minute, this who died? Because they're talking like somebody died.
Yeah.
Basically, it was Telos's wife
Yeah. Yeah.
has
Talos'
passed
wife
away.
passed away,
Talos' wife
unfortunately.
passed away. Right, she passed away, and he was telling Fury like, yo, she always liked you. You know what I'm saying? She always had, she always had a lot of love for you, type thing. And that was like one of the first times you really saw Fury um show like some emotion, because he hugged, he
They did the
in
whole
all of
scroll
MCU.
greeting thing with the
Yeah, that's
forehead thing.
uh,
Like it was very like it was a very like intimate moment that
yeah,
they had between like actual friends. Like Nick Fury really don't have no friends. And
right.
Talos was actually his legit friend.
It was like he has been ingratiated into their culture and into the way they are. And it kind of reminded me of the movie from the 80s, Enemy Mine, with Lou Gossett Jr. It did his Quaid, if you remember. Yeah, throwback on that movie. That was a great movie, by the way.
Ooh, that's yeah.
Uncle! And people don't know that was a young Bumper Robinson that was playing little Zamis, the kid. So check out Enemy Mine or whatever. So it just gave me those type of feels, and basically come to find out that Tilo's daughter has gone. Let me explain something. I hate in movies. I get why they do it, but I hate when movies have the kid that's just mad for no reason, and yeah, I'm mad at you, dad, or whatever, or mom, or whatever, and they want to go rogue and join off, and then they realize the error in their ways, and then want to come back. Oh, I hate that so much. But they're going to probably give us a reason why this situation happened. We'll discuss that later. And so, they all discuss like, hey, how we gonna do this? And like, yo, like we people know that you're here, we got to bring you. People don't know that you're here yet. They think you're still up there in Saber. You coming down here is a big deal for the thing. And he was like talking, and they said, hey, they got this weapon here, and this is what they're trying to do. They explained the story. He was like, yeah, they're trying to put this weapon together where it's kind of like a human extension type weapon. And Fury got pissed. And he jumped up and was like, what? And he was like, well, why ain't you doing something about it? And he's like, hey, man, I'm not on the Skrull High Council anymore. Or whatever. I'm not on the Skrull.
I got kicked off.
I got kicked off. And he was basically like, what happened? And he said, he tells the guy name, and was it Gritsky or something? Gravis was the name. And then Fury's like, Gravis, like, because he's like, and then Maria Hill was like, you know him? He was like, yeah, I know him or whatever. And it seems like there's some type of relationship between Fury and Gravis as well. And so Fury's like, hey, man, I'm going out for a walk. And they're like, in Moscow by yourself? Like, what are you doing, bro? But Fury has a plan, and he made it known to what happened next. He's a black man walking around in Russia, by itself is just completely peculiar. And he sees like this little girl with this stupid looking balloon.
And the funny thing was, I'm sorry, like she actually referenced it too. He said, "You got." Talos was like, "You kind of gonna stand out."
Right? Yeah, he's like, kind of gonna stand out a little bit. And she's like, right? He referenced it like that. And there was another line that happened later on that we're gonna talk about.
That was funny too, yo.
So Fury gets snatched up by these guys, and he got a hood on his head, and then the lady picks him up, and this is the lady who was playing. If anybody watched the show The Crown on Netflix, she was the Queen of England, like middle-aged Queen of England. And she's like worked for MI6. And she's like, Fury, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be up in Saber. Knowing that you're supposed to be here, knowing you're here is a problem. And he was like, this and that. She was like, look at you, man. You old. She basically was like, you're dusty. You're old. You ain't got it no more. You call these guys grunts. You ain't see them coming. Whatever. He was like, yo, I let your boys get me so I can meet with you. Like, what's going on? And she was just like, look, she basically told Fury, yo, you soft now. You've been in space. This is over your head, bro. You ain't ready for what's about to happen right now. And she was like, do yourself a favor, get out, go back to space or whatever. She told that man, go back to space, basically. And he was like, all right. And Fury does what he does, plants a little spy detector thing. And he's basically, watches what they're doing and finds out, that Grevis was one of the problems. Also, you saw a scene where Rhodey might be Secretary of Defense, if I'm not mistaken.
It feels like he's something.
Yeah, he's on the presidential panel where he's talked to the president like, hey, Rhodey's like, hey, Nick Fury isn't on Saber anymore. He's back. And he was like, what do you mean he's back? He's gone AWOL? I'm not going to say that, but he's here. And he was like, well, he's gone AWOL. He needs to be up there at Saber, planning the biggest defense, for this planet.
It's crazy because he said basically him and Hill going AWOL because of
right. Right. And so he was like, you got to find him. So, right. Then we cut, and also too, you learn that the Skrulls are, radiation doesn't have an effect on them,
Yeah, which is a great thing to have.
Radiation has an effect on them. So Skrulls are basically most of them are in Russia, and they're on, in Russia because Russia has all these old nuclear plants, so them trying to make bombs and nuclear bombs and stuff that's been shut down. They can, like Chernobyl and all that stuff, they can go there with no problem.
And the cool thing was too, they said like, look, there's a bunch of off the books ones too that we don't even know where they at. So they're not just at like, the known sites.
Right. There's that. Right. That's a good line. He said there's some off the book, former nuclear testing sites and stuff that we don't know about. So then we see this brother walking up to these gates, and you see some Russian guards there, and they're like, yo, what do you want? And he's like, hey, and he's talking. The next thing you know, a car pulls up, and out comes the mother of dragons herself, Emilia Clarke.
Yeah. Did you unpick the password?
No, what was the password?
My skin is my home.
Got you.
So yeah, so that's like one of their mantras,
Mm-hmm.
because
They look
essentially,
so
since they can shape shift and hide, but they want to be, they want to be in their, in the
right.
skin I'm in.
Right. What up? Let me stop. So do, do, do. Shout out to Cameo. Emil Clark pulls up and she's like, "Yo, what's your name?" And my man says like Kevin or something like that. And
Doesn't matter.
she's like, "Yeah, whatever." And then she's like, show me your real self." And he takes his Scully off and hoodie, and you see that he's a Skrull. And she looks at him and she's like, all right, come on in, let some in. They get in the car, and she's like, "When the last time you ate?" My man was like, "I don't even remember." And then she says, she opens up like the dashboard thing, and there's, I guess, some type of scroll like
Skrull planet plant,
plant.
which also was a callback to um an earlier scene when Talos was growing the Skrull plant in the office. It said it's adapted to Earth's
Earth's.
atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Right,
they can, what I'm saying.
right. And then my
Also,
man,
also my bad. Also, the name of the little place is called Skrulls.
yes, Scroller. So what was funny was my man saw the plant, and he was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, we've been able to grow these here and stuff." He was so excited and he ate it. And then he gets there and she says, like, "Yeah, all these people, everyone here is a scroll, you know, you can either just come here for sanctuary, or you could come here to be a part of the resistance,
So you
if
can
you
be a warrior.
a warrior." She said, like, if you here for the sanctuary, you can't leave. You here, you're stuck here. But if you want to be a warrior, you can come as you go. That's why you're able to still, we allow, you to use your human form or whatever. And so then we see
Another quick note. I'm sorry to
uh,
interrupt, but another quick tidbit. She said, she was like, "We stay in our human form longer because it's harder to detect by humans and scrolls.
mhm,
We stay in your human form longer." So that this little basically, this black dude served as our exposition dump for the episode.
yeah. He
That
was
she said
basically like
that.
our point of view character.
Good job. There was 500 scrolls there.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They had
Hmm.
from like, the warriors to the little kids.
Hmm.
And it was funny because she was leading him through, got to a certain point, armed guards, like, yeah, yeah, black dude, you gotta stop here.
Yeah.
What's it on the doors? She says, victory.
Victory. Right. That's what she said. And so then they go behind the scenes, and you see a guy taking an oath, I guess, to become a warrior in the resistance, and he's like kneeling before Grievous or whatever. And
Now, like his like basically like his right hand man.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that
eh,
dude is from somewhere too. I cannot remember.
yeah. I can't remember where he's from too. And so he blesses him. Go ahead.
Was he from The Last of Us? I don't know. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
don't know. He might have been. I got to go back and watch
I'll
the
find
episode
it.
again.
I'll
And
find
so he knows that he says it, and then they bring out this Russian guy, and they was like, take his face, and he basically transforms into the guy. Then they hook him up to that same mind machine that Captain Marvel was that Telos had hooked Captain Marvel up to
it. It was that good
from
catch.
the
Good
movie,
catch.
when they was trying to find her memories that was messed up in her head, because the Kree had messed it up. And he said, all right, now take his mind and memories. I said, yo, that is, they are ruthless.
Uh-huh.
Also, I just want to make sure I heard that right, Rashad. So that wasn't Ross. That was just a cop. That was a guy that just copied Ross. I want to make sure,
Uh-huh.
because okay, just want to make sure whatever, because that scroll did die. That was the Ross scroll, but it wasn't really Ross. So so then you see that happen, and then what do you get? You get Fury and them, trying to, they spying on MI6, seeing what it is, what's going on, and they figure out, hey, they're going to meet with this person who I guess is almost like an arms dealer or something, an arms dealer, and is like a middleman for the scrolls, because also there was this weapons cache that was hit, and supplies and stuff were taken. But the MI6 lady didn't want to tell Fury about it because she still thinks he's weak or whatever. And what you see next is basically a conversation between Telos and Fury, because they go to meet up with that MI6 dude. They go him up with the
The
Skrull
arms
guy,
dealer. Yeah.
arms dealer type dude. And he was like, not bad for somebody that's 128 years old. He said it. Telos is like, yeah, by Earth standards, I'm not even 40 yet, but man, I feel it like he was like, yo, he was like, I'm not even 40 yet, but man, like that, so they're just, saying it's a buddy cop situation with that. And then you see Emil Clark character who's, she meets up with the guy first to get, the bombs that they want to use. Come to find out, and Telos cuts off the MI6 guy, kind of, drugs him, knocks him out, and they go to go meet the dude. And Maria Hill sees, the
Yeah,
girl,
Gia.
Gia.
Gia. Yeah.
What comes to find out that Emil Clark character name is Gia, and that is Telos's daughter from Mrs. Marvel. And she follows her around, and while that's going on, while she's following, there's a big, confrontation between Nick Fury, the arms dealer dude, and Telos. And that arms dealer dude was giving Telos the business. It looks like.
Because like it
Nick
was
Fury
so
kept
funny.
saying, Nick Fury, he was like, "No, I got this. I can do this myself." So I said, Nick Fury's like, "I don't know, bro. He's throwing you through wall pillars and stuff like that." And
Beating the brakes off of Talos.
Them.
Talos was like, I don't need any help. He was like,
I don't need no help. Nick Fury was like, sure.
All right, Sean, like,
yeah, cap that dude. And he was like, I told you I didn't need no help. He was like, all right, cool, whatever. All right. So Maria Hill's following Gia, and she gets ambushed by Gia. They start fighting, and Talos meets up, and finds and she was like, it's a girl, and he runs, and then Talos realizes who it is, because she says, you always act like you're gonna do something, but you never do it. And he was like, Gia? And he realized that was his daughter. And he was like, yo, just give me the bomb, yo. Come on home. And he said, your mother wouldn't want this. And she's like, something with my mom. And then she was like,
she said, mother didn't know what she wants.
Mother didn't know what she wants. And she was like, and then he was like, her last words were, look after you.
Find Gia.
Find Gia. And she was like, wait a minute, you mean her last words? She didn't even know her mother had died.
Nah, she just been out on the run, yo.
Right. She been on the run. She been hanging with we're gonna call them the terrorist Skrulls or whatever. And she was like, what do you mean? Well, how did she die? She was like, why don't you ask the people you rolling with how she died? And like, you saw the look on her face, like, ooh, yeah, right, like, ooh, whatever. And then she was like, whatever, you lying or whatnot. And she attacks her father, and she gets away. She gets away, and she meets up with Grievous, and they give him the stuff. I call
that man Grievous.
Whatever.
General Kenobi.
General Kenobi. Obi. I call the man Grievous. Whatever his name is. I can't think of his name. Gravis, probably. She meets up with Gravis, gives him the bomb.
My man's Gravik with a K.
Gravik.
Like, his name is dumb as hell.
Yeah, it is. It's very stupid.
Gravik.
So it meets up with Gravik, gives him the bombs, and everything. And then she's kind of like, yo, do we really got to do this type thing? And he's like, yeah, we got, Gravik's right-hand man was like, yeah, we do.
Yes,
I'm saying?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? And so you see her walk away, and it kind of hits her that her mother's passed, died or stuff, and she kind of breaks down. So then you also, at the time, you see Nick Fury going to like a pub or a bar, let's say, it's in a Russian bar. He walks in, of course, he's in Russia. He's the blackest thing in Russia. And everyone is like looking at him, and he's like, yo, let me get a what is it? He wanted a bourbon. Let me get a bourbon. And then he was looking in the mirror at himself, and one of the Russian dudes sitting there was like, hey, no matter how hard you look, it ain't gonna change, man, or whatever. And he looked at him, and he was just like, yeah, talking to him. But then he was like, yeah, give me a bourbon and give him whatever he's drinking. He was like vodka, and gave him a head nod. And Maria Hill is already there at the bar, and they sit down and they have a conference, and they sit and meet. And she was like, so this is how the Cold War got stopped. You just started having. She was like, hey man, you just got to be nice to the look. He says, she's like nice to the local. She said, he was like, yeah man, I was the local spook, and she was like, oh, you can't say that. He said, no, you can't say that to her. I love that part right.
I was dying. Yo.
I was so done. She was like, you can't say that. He was like, no, you can't say that. And she just gave a head nod, like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so they, they get ready to play a game of chess. And she's asking him, like, yo, so why'd you come back? And he gives some type of BS. And she was like, look, yo, whenever we play chess and it's just you and me, we normally have, everything is off the table. You know what I'm saying?
It's an honest conversation.
It's an honest conversation. Like, what's going on? And he really isn't still honest with her about like why he was just like, hey, you came to get me. She said, no.
You called me.
Talos. She said, no, Talos called you and I just came to pick you up. And she basically is letting him know that she's pissed off that he left her and didn't really give a reason why, or else didn't take her with him. So she's bitter.
And not only that, but like the daggone snap rears his ugly head again, because she said, look, you ain't been the same since the snap. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different down here. Basically say, fam, you washed up now. You might as well go back to space and let the competent people that's been on Earth since the snap handle this thing.
Yeah, and the MI6 lady said the same thing to him about, like, you ain't been right since the snap. But, his whole thing is like, yo, I've been with these people, man. I know.
I'm like, I know them.
I know them, which makes me goes back to the whole, how when he greeted Talos and everything like that. So, he never really gave her a reason, but she just let him know how hurt she was that he left.
Yeah, that's what it really was. You wanted to tell him, look, y'all.
Yeah,
like, you was almost like a father figure to me, and you hurt my feelings. But she didn't have the balls to say that. That's really what that was.
Right. And then go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Like, even in the next scene, like, you see, like, Nick Fury is sleeping in his clothes, like, yo, this is disgusting. And then he's having a dream, and it's legitimately PTSD, about him snapping away. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's from our POV, which is funny.
Yeah, you saw the scene at the end of Infinity War where
the end credit.
You know what I'm saying? Where, he looks and he's starting to, get blipped away or whatever.
Yeah.
And so what you see next is a lady hailing a taxi. Taxi picks her up, and Talos gets out the car, opens the door, and Gia gets out the car, and she's like, look here, man. Like, yo, what really happened to my mom? And he's like, hey, she was on an assignment. She was trying to find out what's going on. Your people, did something. And that's how. Like,
did they say Gravik killed her?
Yeah, I think they said Gravik straight up killed her and stuff. And she was like, look, man, I don't want nobody to get hurt. I'm going to help y'all out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then Talos, meets back up with, Fury and Hill at the safe house. And he says, look, I found Gia. She's back in the fold. This is what happened. It's tomorrow. They're going to do it on, what is it, Unity Day or something? Yeah, it was like Unity Day in that town in Russia or whatever. So they go to the town square. So many people, thousands of people just standing there, partying or whatever. And Talos is like, yeah, she said she's going to have it in a bag. And he was like, man, everybody got a book bag. Everybody out here. And he was like, yo, she marked it with infrared, and they switched. All of them got on glasses, and they flip it, and you see infrared like X on the bag, and they're trying to follow along, and somewhere along the line, Gia gets lost with her bag, and they see the other two, and they're chasing them, and all that's going on. And then next thing you know, Fury looks and he sees like the girl that he saw when he was first walking in Moscow by himself. with a ball, and he's like, and he has that look like, yo, am I hallucinating or is that? And so
What?
he's following her, and I'm saying to myself, yo, is he hallucinating? No, I say he ain't hallucinating, and he's following the little girl, and then like the little girl goes behind like a pillar or something, and it's the old man that told him, hey, you not getting no younger in the bar. And
Mm-hmm.
Fury's like, yo, what in the hell is going on here? And he looks, and then it turns into a woman. And he's like looking, he's following this person while Hill and
Which was the woman that was kissing the dude on the bench.
yes, she kissing the dude on the bench when he was walking. And then he's looking like, yo, what's going on? And then finally it's Gravik. Gravik has been watching him
The entire
entire
time.
time, knowing that he was gonna be here, watching him the entire time. And he looks, and you see Fury pulls his piece out, and you see Hill and Talos fighting the other people. Kind of find out the bags are empty, and they're like, "Yo, they were decoys. Who got the bag?" And Robert just pulls out, flip the switch, boom, 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 boom. Bombs just going everywhere, and Fury is like, "What?" He's still trying to like find a dude. He's trying to shoot Gravik. And the next thing you know, you see Fury, and he's like, Hill, and she's like, "Sir, what's going on?" Bop, bop, bop. Gravik shot Maria Hill, and she drops down, and she's bleeding, and he's walking up on her like he's about to give her the, what I'm saying, the double tap. Gave her the shot to the body and about to give her the kill shot to the head. But Fury comes over there and he kind of runs away, but he sees Hill there, and Hill started bleeding from the mouth and stuff, coughing up blood. That's usually a sign that's it, that's a
Not a
wrap.
good sign.
That's not a good sign. It's usually a sign for that's a wrap. And bombs are still exploding, and Talos is like, hey man, we gotta go. And he just grabs Fury and they leave, and
And
they
left
and they
Maria
left
Hill
they
there
left her there,
to
and look, and she
die.
basically looked like she was dying, bleeding out, dying, and fade to black.
Yo, I put money this is what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they're gonna pin it all on Maria Hill because she's the only American there. And
Yeah.
they're gonna say that she set out the bombs and got killed in some sort of firefight.
And what did they say earlier? She went AWOL.
Yeah, so that's again that whole
Right.
U.S. Russia distrust. That's kind of where this starts. So
Mm-hmm.
what Fury didn't realize, he was really playing in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the triple cross of of Gia was
Gia,
like
yeah.
perfect because she said, "Oh, they're gonna be the X in the bag." It wasn't nothing in them bags on X's at
Mm-mm.
all. So
Mm-mm.
she straight
Played
and
them.
played, yeah, definitely played them. Even
Mm-hmm.
though she was like, "Yo, Gravik killed my dad," I'm still going through with this thing. So it's gonna be some more splintering
Mm-hmm.
of them as the series goes along, man. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man. Great entry into this episode. The
Yeah.
fact that we don't know who is who, that
Mm-hmm.
element of it
Mm-hmm.
is gonna be so good to watch.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now. Here is a dark horse of who I think a Skrull is. I think Rhodey.
I've been saying that for last 2 months.
I think Rhodey. I've
You know
been
what I'm
saying that for a
saying?
while, but I think Rhodey. And what do you see in most movies or shows or something like this when there's some type of invasion or something like that? There's people that are in high power that are associated, what I'm saying, with going back to Hydra, to this, even like, one of my favorite shows that got canceled. They did one season that was on NBC called The Event, that came out a while. Yeah, I love that show, and they canceled. I was so pissed off about it, but I know why they canceled, because that's when they was doing the fall break and all that stuff, and people forgot when it came on. So yeah, man, great start to a season, and there's only 6 episodes too. So
I mean, if them
Marv,
Jones is all like 50 minutes, then we're gonna be good.
yeah, we are definitely going to be good. So I can't wait to see who else is a Skrull. Where does this play in the grand scheme of where the MCU is going? Because you got to look at things like this. You got this going on, but also we still like in the multiversal wars or whatever that's going on right now with the
Yeah,
MCU.
and also like Is this before or after the Marvels?
Yes, because you
Feel
saw
like
how it
because
started. The show started with present day.
that's what like you don't like
Yeah.
yo because like we don't know where we at. Present day could be anytime present day.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, just a great, good first episode. Strong entry, strong pilot, so to speak. Man, can't wait till next Wednesday. That's it for this one.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Make sure you are following, subscribing, and liking and all the things, man.
Yeah.
Just reached over 1,000 on YouTube. We
Whoop,
appreciate you
whoop.
all. Make sure you keep watching and clicking, especially these long episodes. We can get monetized and get paid.
Yeah.
Other than that, man, until the next time.
Peace out, y'all.